My name's Steve Fraser, and this is my Gen 2 Audi R8. I've owned the car 4.5 years now, and I'm still absolutely addicted to the thing. My first modification was we developed the air kit for this car with airlift. It went down south to Calder Security. We modified a Gen 1 strut. Fits on the rear, just needed to make shorter, and then we needed to change the eyelet mount to a fork mount on the front. Anyone that follows me on my socials will know that I'm air ride mad, so every car I get, the first thing that gets arranged is for the car to go on air. In terms of versions, this is number 5. So we've done a number of different looks. From that original first one, we wrapped it for winter in satin grey, which gave it a really moody look. Absolutely loved that. And then from there, we started playing around with it a little bit more. For summer, it went Miami blue, new set of wheels that were anthracite, rotor form, 3-piece SEC wheels. Then that didn't last long. I pulled that off after 4 months. We went back to the white again for a little bit. And then we went to a chalk grey. At that point, we matched the Macan with the same colourway. That had a set of 3-piece rotiform WGR splits on it. And then we've done, which would now have been a year ago, which was probably the biggest overhaul it had for a while, which was the version 4. It went purple. We pulled the wrap off and exposed the carbon on the hood. We facelifted the front end, which then gave us the big carbon aggressive front lip, wider rear carbon side vents, the new Audi Sport spoiler, and that one was on a set of single-piece rotiform KPS. Until we got to this makeover, which is this year. So this has been done now since just before Ultimate Dubs. We've gone a Nosatec Pearl Marigold Orange wrap. Same thing, kept the carbon exposed. 3-piece this time on the Vossens. These are a brand new design. I don't believe it out yet. We've still got the airlift 3H performance suspension, carbon front lip, carbon side vents, carbon Audi Sport style rear wing, diffuser, rear spats, side skirts. We've got a QuickSilver titanium exhaust on the car that sounds incredible. We've changed the tune since. We're now running a OEM Plus tune, which is by Racing Line. Still running the same sort of power numbers, which is great. I had my seats re-trimmed, half leather, half Alcantara. And last winter, I trimmed all the underside of my dash myself with Alcantara. My favorite modification is probably quite hard. My go-to answer will always be the air. But I would probably say the biggest thing with this car is the exhaust. When the valves are open and it's on full chat, it absolutely screams. So I'd probably say it's 2, exhaust and air. In terms of how it handles and bagging high performance cars, supercars, things like this, it ain't a sales pitch. There is nothing more to it. It drives 10 times better on air than it did on its standard suspension. I took it around the track and it drove phenomenally. Obviously height sensors keep the car balanced, helps it in the cornering. This car just seems like it's on rails. No matter how I drive it, it handles really, really well. And it is a big justice of, if you put a car on air that the kit's designed for the car and you set it up correctly, it drives phenomenally. In terms of power, it is sitting, I believe, roughly around between 620 to 640 horsepower. It's not been on a dyno for a while. It was originally on an APR stage 1 file. We recalibrated it and started working with Racing Line, which is a new OEM Plus file. I know it made about 9 horsepower more than the APR file at the time. But yeah, we're in that rough sort of region of numbers. A lot of people ask me what my next plans for the car are, and at this point, we just keep changing it up for the fun of it. So it will go another color again at some point. It will get another set of wheels again at some point. I would like to go down the forced induction route. Twin turbos are just crazy money. I believe I'd probably be able to get to a point somewhere, but I think I'd probably rather supercharge it. Go 800-ish horse, But again, that's just for a bit of fun. Unless someone wants to call my bluff and dangle a number there, and I might sell it. My very first car was a Polo 9N3 1.23 cylinder. Loved the thing, everyone's first car, didn't do it too bad. Then we moved on to a Mark V Golf that was a 1.4 TSI. Getting a little bit older, you're trying to chase a car that's got a bit more speed. Threw some coilovers on that, BBS replicas like we all do at that age. Then we moved into the Mark VI Golf GTI, which is kind of where things really started ramping up. That went stage 3, full show car at the time. From that, we moved into a Audi S3 Saloon, same vibe, full show car, stage 3 power. Had that for 3 years. Then we went on to a Mark III TTRS, same vibe going again, stage 3, show car style. That was running 650 horse, which, believe it or not, a lot of people are kind of putting these two together because the TTRS at some point was also orange. So it's kind of a little bit of a throwback of this going into its baby brother. And that only lasted about 18 months. And that was pretty much because I decided to go on holiday, post on social media dangling the carrot, would anyone buy the car? Someone called my bluff, so I had to sell it, and that got us into buying this. And we've been with it ever since. Plus, we've obviously also got the drift car that's also a side project. And I like to mess around with my wife's Macan, so that's also on air and Rossens and another stancy car. The best thing about owning this car, number one, when I kind of started really going heavily into the show car stuff and the air ride stuff, I kind of set a goal, and it was actually Wayne Simpson. I will always remember this. I mean, I've owned this car 4.5, so it's got to be maybe 7 or 8 years ago. He turned up at Ultimate Dubs in an all-black Gen 2 R8 on air that Plush had done at the time. And from that day onwards, I kind of said, I want to build one of those. I want a Gen 2 R8, I want it on air. And a bit of an accomplishment, very happy that we got there, and it just still ticks the boxes. I mean, every other car I only owned for 3 years. I'm 4.5 years in, and I'm still just as excited to get in it every time I drive it. We'll be at a bunch of shows this year, including German Car Fest in October. So if you want to come and see the car, pop along, and we'll see you there.